Hello and welcome to another presentation for the Linfield College IDST 052 Career Planning and Preparation course. This is again presented by Donna Montoya. And today we get to talk about the cover letter, which is a supplement to your resume. And the cover letter actually may be seen before your resume. They come hand in hand, but it is the first impact that you will get to have on a hopefully future employer. It reflects the resume in that it does talk about your qualifications, but it's a more personal and professional tone. It's actual writing, and you get to be a little more in depth about what you talk about and tailor it in a little different way. So we'll get to talk about that. So to start your cover letter and to set it up well, the first thing that you should do is use the same letterhead for your cover letter as the one that you used for your resume. And in fact, any documents that you produce, so it might be cover letter and resume, it could also be a reference page, maybe supplemental questions that you had to answer. If it's something that you create in a separate document, put that same letterhead on it. It creates a great pattern and it really helps your own personal and professional branding to have that. In setting up your cover letter in the format, use the standard business address blocks. And then for your greeting, use only Mr. or Ms. for the professional title when addressing the letter. Or if it's someone with a different professional title, such as doctor, reverend, professor, etc., use that. My point being, don't use Miss or Mrs., which is assuming that a woman is either married or not. And it is a much more formal way to address a woman to say Ms. If you know the exact name of the recipient, and my challenge to you is to try to know the exact name of the recipient every time you apply for a job. Sometimes it takes a little more research. So if it's a job that you found on LinkedIn, for example, you may be able to see the name of the person who actually posted the position. Sometimes in the actual job application, it will say who posted the job or who you should direct your application materials to. If it doesn't and you need more research, you may call HR or the department to which you are applying and see if they will give you that information. I should hope that you should have some professional contact or friend with that company already. They may be able to find out for you. And if all else fails, at least don't put to who it may concern. That's bland, that's dry and boring. It feels too stuffy now. So an alternative would be Dear Hiring Committee, Dear Hiring Manager, Dear Selection Committee, etc. And you may know the exact name of the committee or the title just by directions on your application or looking through the company website. So I get a lot of questions on, well, I feel like I'm just reiterating in my cover letter what I put on my resume. And this is not necessarily true. Your resume should include experience relevant to the position that you're applying. So it's the relevant and only relevant, and it's a different grammatical way to showcase your experience. In your cover letter, you need to express more interest in why you're interested and relate some of your key experiences to that position and really just concentrate on perhaps 2 to 3 jobs or experiences to really let you and the person way that you shine in an actual job. Because again, everything may look good on paper, but when it comes down to it, they will be hiring a person to work with other people, and it is the person that can really shape and format a position. So going through the resume, or the cover letter from top to bottom, the first paragraph is really the introduction. And this is all about what you're applying for and why, in a very quick couple sentences, overall why you would think you'd be a fit. So for example, I'm very excited to apply for the administrative assistant position at Damro Incorporated. Through my studies at Linfield College with business administration, I know I can be a wonderful member of the team, etc. It's nice if you know someone at the company or you're referred to the position by someone at the company or a trusted member of their community to let them know who that is. If you have already talked to the person about this position or the company, and you should be able to put in your cover letter in the top paragraph, thank you so much for speaking to me about blank position at this company or that blank company. I'm very excited to follow up with my official application for example. One of the most important parts of the first paragraph is to actually state that you are actually interested in this position, that you want this position and you want to work with the company, and give a little detail about why. I cannot tell you how many cover letters I have read that the person says, I feel I will be very qualified for this position because, and they list it out. However, they never say they actually want the job. It sounds like they just want a job. They don't care that it's with me or doing this work or with a company that I believe in because I work here and I care about the company. So you need to explicitly say that. An example might be, I am so excited to work with Damro Incorporated. I have had wonderful experiences with them personally and with professional contacts, and the values such as, list their values, go along very greatly with my personal experience and how I carry out my life in my professional and personal situations. So you want to show that you've done a little bit more research and that you really are connected to the position. In the middle paragraphs, so this can be 1 to 3 paragraphs depending on how much experience you're including, and honestly how much experience you have in your lifetime of your career anyway. This is where you really focus on the experiences that you've had and connecting them to the job for which you're applying and to the company. So this is where it does mirror your resume, and it's nice to have your resume completed first because when you do go back to your cover letter, you're really able to see, okay, these are a couple certain jobs that I want to be able to highlight. You'll be highlighting a couple key roles or projects that you've done for each job. So let's say you choose 2 different jobs to talk about, so maybe 2 to 3 different experiences each, and you will want to relate it back to the value that you will create for the position and the company for which you're applying. So an example may be, in my previous job at Banmont Incorporated, I was a receptionist where I was able to greet customers, manage a complete database change, etc., etc. And I know that these are skills and experiences that I will be able to take to the team in this new administrative role. So every time you talk about an experience that you've had, relate it back to how it will add to the job that you're applying for. The last paragraph is the wrap-up. So you'll reiterate very briefly in different words what your skills and abilities are and your passions and how it relates to the job, that you're excited about this opportunity, and you do want to thank them for accepting the application and reading it through. You'll also want to include either that you will be following up with them by a certain timeline or that you'll hope to hear from them soon. And in your resume packet, you can see your sample cover letter. This one is an example of someone who's a little more forceful in how they're going to be following up. I actually usually put something like, I look forward to speaking with you soon about the next steps. Feel free to contact me if you have any other questions. And the overall most important thing about a cover letter is that it's not actually about you. It's about them. It's about the company that you're applying with. How will your experiences and your skills and passions make them a better place? So if you go into it thinking with that lens, I hope that your cover letter will speak to the person and speak to the recipient in that way. I'm going to throw in a little bit about references since I mentioned them earlier, and you'll see in your resume packet that you do have a sample of a reference page. So something that is kind of a rule of thumb is don't give them the reference sheet unless they're asked for. They will ask them from you at a certain point in the interview process, and it's usually when you're one of the final, if not the final candidate. So have them ready, but you do not have to supply the document yet. Always ask someone to be a reference before you actually use their name. This has happened to me a couple of times. I'm the one thinking who John is. I'm not John in this example. It feels really bad when someone calls me and I was not prepared to be a reference. Besides, it says so much more about you if the reference can say, yes, thank you so much for calling. I knew John was going to be applying for this position. He's been talking about how it just lines up with his career path and what he wants to be doing. I'm happy to talk to you about what I know. So that is a great reflection on you. And so one of the ways that you can prepare your references to do this is to send them a copy of your cover letter and resume and also the job description. And you can even lay out a couple bullet points of, this is how I know that you would be a good reference because this is what I did with you that I think these employers would really care about, and say that time we worked on this project, or when you and I talked about this concept, etc. It does help as a reference to be able to have a cheat sheet to know really what to highlight about you. And that is the end of the art of the cover letter presentation plus references. Thank you so much, and you know that you can email me if you have any questions.